All right. So this is Liena's first time on stage for an interview. We met some time ago at a master class initially, and I actually had a chance to meet Lien during the Jumpstart training. How many of you went through that Jumpstart training after the first master class? Okay, because I know some people had to leave early. So, Lien, you were sitting in the same seat, months ago, and you took in the information, you took notes with the information that was given, and you started applying the information. What was it like? I want to start from the very beginning. What was it like attending that master class? Like, how did you even find out about my program?
I'm not really sure, but I think I found out via social media.
Make sure the mic's on. Okay. Yeah.
I think it was via social media. I'm not really sure, but I think that's where I saw it.
Okay.
Your advertisement for that particular seminar.
Okay. And you attended the master class, and you ended up at the boot camp.
That's right.
What was your experience like during the boot camp? What did you learn, and did you start seeing results with the information after receiving that information?
It was a lot of information overload, right? But it was a lot of information that I took that day and was able to go and implement. So initially, I attended your one-day seminar, right? And then from there, signed up for this boot camp. When I left that one-day seminar, I applied. Applied the information that I got.
Yeah.
And by the time I came back for the boot camp, I had a property under contract, right?
She took massive action.
I didn't have any of this at that time. And you said, if anybody gets the property under contract before you get back to the boot camp, you can contact me. Probably thinking, no, nobody will. And I did.
Absolutely.
And he actually told me exactly what to do from there.
Okay. So what happened during the boot camp?
Oh, my goodness. I was able to learn what I didn't know, having had put that property under contract. So I learned how to run numbers, my own numbers. I learned what a retail sale, what an investor sale was. I learned how to use Google spreadsheet, Google Voice. I learned so much that enabled me to be able to take the information and actually do something with it.
Lien, the first day here, I had everybody write down their goals. Could you share what some of your goals were after the first day during the boot camp?
Well, my goal was to be able to, as I said, implement that information and to be one of the people who I could look back and say, okay, so for example, Marcel has these interviews, and I remember sitting here in this audience and watching the individual who was being interviewed at that time. And I said to myself, one day I'm going to be her. One day I am going to be sitting up on that stage with Marcel, and I'm going to be the person that he's interviewed. And I went back to her after that interview, and I was able to talk to her, and she has become one of my biggest supporters. So that's the other thing. It's great to be able to work with people who work with Marcel. And she came here today continuing to support me. So I'm so grateful and blessed.
We need to shout her out, too. I know some folks just walked in. I'm sitting here with Lien Brashears, an Inner Circle member I work with on a one-on-one basis, myself and my team. She works with Michael Jones out in the D.C. and Prince George's County Marketplace. She just put together a deal, eye-opening deal, And that's one of the best things about the system that you're learning here at this boot camp. We're not going after properties that are listed with real estate agents. We're not going after properties that are listed with any auction brokers. We're going after what we call, and if you recall from the Jumpstart training, we go after virgin leads. These are leads nobody else knows about. So she just landed 1.8 acres in Port Tobacco, Maryland for how much?
$13,500.
$13,500. And there's nothing different between Lieneta and you all. She just got to this information a little sooner. She was sitting in a crowd watching Linda Henryhand. Linda, could you wave to everybody? Everybody saw Linda's video yesterday. And, sometimes life gets in the way. Like Linda's story, if you follow me on Vimeo, a video platform, I have a lot of student interviews from our boot camps on that platform, and Linda shared her story from surviving an abusive marriage to battling cancer and being a cancer survivor. Can we give Linda a hand for that? But I think, Lieneta, you resonated with Linda because Linda also shared that she brought her daughter into the business with her. And you did the same thing at the first boot camp. I believe Dorielle was with you as well. Is that one of the reasons why you decided to get into real estate?
Not really.
Okay.
Really, I was trying to get into it because I was retiring. I retired and I wanted something to do. But I brought her because I wanted her to see that there is another way. And so she attended this boot camp with me. Okay,
so you retired. What did you do before real estate? And how long did you do it?
I worked for the federal government for 35 years for the CIA. And that was my career. It's the only place I really ever worked for 35 years.
Oh, wow. Wow. So let's talk about these deals that you've done. So your first deal, where was that deal located?
In Hyattsville, Maryland.
Everybody know where Hyattsville is? And do you remember the numbers on that deal?
I remember it was a condo. We put it under contract for $70,000 and ultimately found a buyer for $78,000.
Excellent, excellent. And that was your first deal. What method did you use to locate the buyer? Because we've been going over the neighborhood zones, and we've also been going over a few lead sources. And this afternoon, we're going to go deeper into the different types of lead sources to generate leads. Which lead source did you use?
I believe it was Craigslist.
Craigslist.
I just looked through Craigslist, specific words I looked for, and found this property in Hyattsville. Owner lived in Texas and was renting it near College Park, the University of Maryland.
Excellent.
So I called them.
Excellent, excellent. So your first deal was $8,000. Can anybody in this room use an extra $8,000 this month? Yeah. Okay. Now, how long was it after that deal you closed your second deal?
3 months.
So 90 days later, you closed your second deal. And what were the numbers on that deal?
I made $87,000 on that deal.
How much?
87.
That's a nice retirement, right?
Yes, it is.
So this deal that you currently own, so you partner with us, we split the cost on the acquisition, and what could we make on this Port Tobacco deal?
$100,000.
And the reason why that is because we would sell this property to a developer. So as you can see, we don't just go after single-family homes. We go after condos, apartment buildings, land, in this case. Now, on this 1.8, isn't it a house?
There is. There's a 900 square foot, I call it a hovel. It's a tear down on the property.
Right. How'd you come across this lead?
Tax lien list.
The local government foreclosure list.
Last year, this time, I was going through the tax lien list, and that property was there. And so I reached out to the owner, and we came close to signing the contract, and then he stepped away.
What's the key thing now? I'm gonna make sure everybody's learning. Follow up.
That's right, because this year again, I was going through the tax lien list, and what did I see? That same property. So I called him, and he said, yes, I want to sell. And I asked, do you remember me? He said, yes, I remember you. I have you locked in my phone.
Absolutely. So Lienita, were you afraid to get started in the beginning? I know for me, when I started out, I was afraid to put properties under contract. I was afraid to make cold calls even. Did you have any fears that we had to help you through in the beginning? Was anything you were afraid to just step out on faith to do?
Yes, I was afraid of everything. I was afraid of not being able to get a property under contract. I didn't know how to talk to an owner if I did get it under contract. There were times I didn't know whether this was for me, if I had made the right decision. So I was afraid, yes, about the whole process.
Absolutely. Now, when you started out, you actually met with Amy, one of our strategists, and she helped you set up some initial seed capital to launch your business. What was that experience like?
Scary. It was really scary because I was retired and I was looking at taking on funding to work with Marcel in the Inner Circle. And yes, I met with Amy, here, after the boot camp, and there was something about her, we just seemed to click, and I left, and the day that I was supposed to actually get the funding, I called her, and I said, oh my gosh, Amy, I'm so nervous. I don't know whether this is going to work for me. I don't want to end up bankrupt, right? After 35 years of working, never have any problems now, that's where I'm going to be. And she talked to me. And that conversation gave me the courage to then move forward with that step. And I'm so glad I did.
Absolutely. Let's give Lienita a hand again. So I want to take people into what it's like being an Inner Circle member. We have a regimented schedule. Every week, unless we have a big event like this, we hold trainings. Every week there's something for our one-on-one clients to plug into. You have my personal cell phone number. You work with Michael Jones. You have his personal cell phone number. One of the biggest roadblocks, I see a lot of people, and I hear when I do interviews, they say, they signed up for this coaching program, they were promised this, they call a number, they get an answering machine, nobody's there to support them, walk them step by step through the deals. What has your experience been from a support standpoint? Because we tell our folks, when you get started, you're not in this alone, we're in this together. Because if I help you make money, that means we're both making money. And that's the goal here, is to make money with everybody. How many of you are ready to make some money? I mean, you say, oh yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, is $80-some thousand enough? We need to show you more? So Lienita, what's that experience been like?
It's been a real learning. There are, about 20 or so of us in the Inner Circle, maybe a little more, and we all learn from each other. Everybody's in a different place in their business, And so if you don't have an answer, somebody does. And ultimately, if they don't, we know Marcel or Mike, in my case, does. And going in, I had so many questions. And there were times I would reach out and say to myself, oh my goodness, I know they're gonna say, you know what, we are sick of this woman.
Write this
Not
down.
kidding.
Write this down. Our
So
student
many
partners that ask the most questions make the most money. Point blank. Our students that ask the most questions make the most money. On the last day here, I'm not gonna leave until I shake, if you choose to, until I shake everybody's hand and answer your questions. I take pictures right out front on that red carpet, and I'll be answering your questions right out in that hallway on the last day. I'm pretty sure a lot of questions were answered for you, Lieneda, during the boot camp. But once you get started and you start getting sellers on the phone, you're gonna have some questions. Once you start evaluating properties, every deal you've evaluated has been different, right?
Yes.
Right. So Lieneda, what would you say to somebody that's sitting in a crowd looking for guidance, looking for a mentor, looking for an organization to join? What would you say to them? Like, why would you want them to join the inner circle?
One, because Marcel and his group is local, right? This is not the first coaching program that I've been in, but they were not here in the area. And while they were very helpful, I didn't have the same